Welcome to CGTN Live 2 Sessions Special, Ask China. I'm Yang Di with the CGTN's social media desk. Each year ahead of China's annual legislative sessions, we ask our social media followers, and that means you, what you care about most and what you want to know about how China is governed. Our reporters then take your questions to the great hall of the people and put them directly to policymakers. We've also launched an Ask China community where experts are on hand to help. Just head to our website or app, tap the image marked Ask China, and you're in. This year, we've received more than 50,000 questions. They range from where to go on a first trip to China to what your first meal should be. But, as always, the economy tops the list, followed by foreign affairs, technology, and culture. To help us unpack those big issues, I've invited 3 CGTN reporters into the studio. They've been moving from one press conference to the next, visiting villages and factories, and speaking to lawmakers, regulators, and frontline officials. So, how about we introduce ourselves to our viewers, starting from you.
Yes, my name is Eden Soto Alba. Originally from Peru, but I lived in America, in the US, in DC specifically. It's 3 of us that have come to China to cover the 2 sessions, as well as technology, environmental store. We're doing environmental stories. We went to Shenzhen, Inner Mongolia. We're then going to Shanghai. It's been an interesting experience, and I've been a journalist for almost 15 years, covering news in Spanish, now in English, and yeah, I love it.
Do you enjoy it so far?
Yeah, China. I was here in 2018, just on vacation with a friend, and it was a great experience. So I'm glad to being able to come back for work this time.
Okay, yeah. Let's move on to you, sir.
My name is Enoxikolia. I'm a CGTN reporter based in Africa, in Kenya to be specific. So this is my 6th year, my 6th time to be in China. And I just loved it, but my first time to cover the 2 sessions, of course. So it was quite a different experience for me, covering the 2 sessions. And I went to different cities and provinces, of course. Had never been to Sichuan, so I was to Sichuan this time round. I went to villages. It was not my first time to be in a Chinese village, but this was different from those I've ever visited. So nice experience, and I loved it.
Sichuan, so have you tried the spicy food there?
Oh, of course. And also went to Wenzhou, now that one seafood.
Okay, so. We've mentioned that there's a question about what the first meal should be if you visit China for the first time. So I will keep you to that question later. Okay. But we'll move on to you.
Okay.
Jiaxin.
So greetings from Beijing. I'm CGTN's reporter based here in Beijing, Zhou Jiaxing. I've covered 2 sessions for years over the past years, so it's so good to be here with our correspondent from overseas offices and to discuss what is on the agenda for this year.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's warm up a little bit because we have loads of questions. I got actually a huge pile of paper here and full of questions. We got 50,000, remember? Yeah, but probably we don't have time to go over all of them, but definitely some of the more interesting ones. So first, because it's 2 sessions, it's China's domestic legislative affair, and probably for international viewers, they need in the 2 sessions of one-on-one. So because I guess for you guys, this is your first time covering the event, right?
Correct.
So you are in the perfect position to share your experience first of covering this event. I will move on to you, Jiaxin, because you've covered this, I know, for several times. And then you'll explain some more questions later. So let's start from you. What is 2 sessions and what is your experience so far?
Well, as covering it for the first time, it was eye-opening how everything how everything works, right?
Yeah.
From starting proposition in a small town all the way to the National People's Palace. And during the opening session for the NPC, I was struck at how people were concentrating, you know?
You are in the great hall of the people, aren't you?
Yeah. And like whenever they were turning the pages, like you could hear all the pages turning, you know, at the same time.
At the same time,
so
everybody.
That shows how focused they are at reading everything that they're saying. So that was very interesting, and I was able to understand how the legislation works and how like the example I gave you, you know, like it can be a teacher from a small town giving a proposition all the way up to the National People's
Congress. Yeah. And so for you, how about you, Enoch? I know that you've not just been, you've been in the Foreign Ministry's press conference, were you?
Yeah, yeah. But let me begin on the first day of, not the first day, the second day, I think, the official opening ceremony of the NPC. So that was the most interesting part because, you know, China is huge, the third largest country in the world. So I kept asking myself, how does it ensure governance to the grassroots and that everyone is heard? So that very morning when I was at the Great Hall of the People, then I saw this quite huge number of people coming in, and I was told there were over, was it 2,000 or close to 3,000 members? And I was like, these are many. But then I realized China is big, and that is how they ensure that everyone is represented. So that experience alone told me something else. When you want to have people represented, ensure that everyone's concern is taken in.
Okay, so for you, Jiaxin, I think the question for you naturally is going to be more complicated because you're not just a reporter covering this event. You're a voter, you're a Chinese voter, you are part of this democracy. So tell our international viewers what it feels like to be first the voter and then the reporter to covering the Chinese top legislative event. And I just briefly, NPC stands for National People's Congress. Go.
So being a voter, actually, it could be at a community level. And then you understand that we have this kind of vote process to vote the NPC deputies in our community, and then all the way up to the higher organizations, and they would just vote for the higher one. So, but actually, I would say as you said, that there are about 3,000 NPC deputies and also 2,000 members for CPPCC. So they're representing different background and businessmen, farmers, teachers, and also from CPPCC, it is even various. You know, we have experts, we have businessmen. So they want to go to their communities to consult for the public concerns and then try to make those ideas and opinions or even disputes to their proposals or motions. For CPC members, it's proposals. And they wanted to make those proposals. And during these forum or visits, they would just make sure that these can be on a channel to go to the upper levels, and then try to make sure that it can be the draft law, and then it will go to the two sessions to come into this process. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we still need to kind of dwell on the China's two sessions, 101 thought a bit longer, and also draw on your experience in the Great Hall of the People where NPC and the CPPCC meetings are taking place. So we have questions from online, from a social media community asking about a government work report. So let's just start from the physical point of it. What does a government report look like? I assume that you've got a copy, right?
Yeah, a digital one, you know, in this digital era. But yeah, so many pages, you know, of many things that, I mean, it was what, like an hour and a half of
I think definitely longer than that.
Yeah, and so.
Does it have an English edition?
Yes, yeah. It was in English, the one I got, and I believe they have many more languages as well. Yeah. It was very interesting how everything was so detailed. You know, some of the highlights that I saw were technology, AI. You know, with the era we're living in, environmental sustainability, and it was, in my opinion, well thought out, and it was very well informed. You know, it was understandable. You know, which is important for the people.
And for you, Anna, when you got hold of a copy of the government report, what was the first thing that you went directly to?
Well, the first thing I normally look at from such reports is what was achieved. And from looking at it, it was so elaborate on the achievements the government was able to put forward in the last 1 year. And it wasn't just the achievement. It first detailed what was the government to do in the last 1 year, and at what stage of implementation has the project reached by the time now the 2 sessions was being held. And from my observation, almost all the projects were completely done. I'm like, we come from different worlds where we find that in some places you find a project was proposed, but at the end of the fiscal year, nothing had been touched. Not even half completed, not yet started. So looking at it, and majority of the projects I saw were almost all of them were done. Not almost, all of them were done. And I was so impressed. How does, like for example, China ensure that in that space, just 1 year, you come up with project ideas and have them implemented within the period they are supposed to be done? And that was amazing. So the report also now comes up with a plan for the following year and for the next 5 years. This is what China wants to achieve in all the sectors, not just in one. We're talking about technology, as he talked about. They had outlined China's journey in terms of the emerging industries and how they foresee these industries becoming the pillars of the Chinese economy in the next 5 years or more. So it was quite elaborate. I went all through it. I'm not a fan of finishing reports, but for this one, I finished because it was interesting just to realize how elaborate each and every item that was mentioned and the time that was given and the explanation that was given. It was just clear for anyone to understand. Yeah.
Justin, I know, because I mean, based on work, kind of the path of our overlap career, I've rarely seen you in Beijing because you've always been traveling around. Kind of whenever we tried to find you somewhere, and we were told that you were on a business trip somewhere in China.
Okay.
So I think among all of us here in this studio, you are the person, you are one of us who can actually match every single page of the government report with the image or with the footage that you have filmed or you have photographed. So when you can put 2 and 2 together, when you can just think of all those places you've traveled, well, what does it feel for you? What does it feel for you that you can match your experience as a reporter traveling in China and those big numbers? And I'll just mention those big numbers. How does it feel for you?
Well, it's really a good question. I would say that when you are reading these words, even I would say that it has been adjusted by different level of governments and experts and also the ordinary people, actually, because they wanted to try to make their voices been heard by those NPC deputies. But for those stories, I would say that from the government work, you can see one of the most important things that the whole world is watching. How will China navigate its economic growth, which I would see that is really realistic. The target for this year's growth is 4.5 and to 5%.
Yeah.
But I, as a reporter, as Dean just said, we would not just report about these numbers, but we see the pragmatic efforts being made across the country in different industries. And as you talk about artificial intelligence, and we have a lot of business leaders are talking about these issues during this two-year session, during this two sessions. But actually, it's about investment from the local government. For either the 15th five-year plan, this is the action plan for our next 5 years development, and other for the government work report. It is quite focused on the investment in the technologies, because this is about the future. But when you go to those factories, when you go to those labs, over the past years, the government has been encouraged to do this, because this is the engine of the growth. You can see that behind the numbers. And this is not just about one, I would say, robot factory. It's about the whole industry chain. It's creating this kind of ecosystem for different provinces and different, I would say, economic zones for that. And this is just one glimpse that maybe for reporters can do. But yeah, this is the reason why China is rich in this kind of stories about the development stories, about the opportunities that the government and also the different industries are creating for jobs for those talents. So yeah, I'm really glad to see that for this opportunity that we CGTN can have you here with us and do the report together. I know that later you will share the stories with us about the stories that you developed with our reporters in Sichuan, in other places.
Yeah.
Thanks. And you're watching CGTN Special, Ask China, the 2-session special, and I'm Yang from CGTN Social Media Desk, where you can ask questions. And I have 3 reporters from CGTN from different perspectives to answer those questions about how China is governed. So we finished about 2 sessions 101, some basic questions about what it is and what the government report is. Okay, now I'm going to navigate further into this OpenZ, where the first question about how China's economy works, because that is basically every day from my desk. We can see loads of questions about this. It's the second largest economy, and it makes sense. So my first question is about this. China doesn't grow into the world's second largest economy overnight. It takes a long way. And they've managed to lift millions of people out of poverty. And I know you had traveled to a village to see how that could happen, how that took place. So tell us a bit, tell the viewers where, because we have a lot of viewers who also from the emerging markets and where they need the technical know-how, they need the right policies to help them to improve their lives. So what can you tell them?
So through my navigation, I found myself in Sichuan and found myself in a very nice, beautiful village. It's called Gulu. Gulu Village, from the face of it, from the look of it, it's very beautiful. It's like God rested there and he's decided to design it in his own ways, magical. But one thing that took me to an awe face was what China has just done to elevate that village. But first because it's my first time there, I had to go back to times when such projects hadn't been done. So those were stories that I was told how life was. People will struggle, they live on the cliff. This village is on the cliff. So coming down was a dangerous path, a deadly path. Many people had died just coming down. And you remember most of the amenities were down the cliff, schools, talking about shops, we're talking about anything that you need for survival. It's down the cliff. And there was no way going up there until they did, first of all, a metallic ladder, which was still dangerous. But then through their representation in the NPC, they made their concerns heard by the national government. And the national government responded. And first did a concrete path. Then the second,
they built a way first.
Yeah, a way, which was now less dangerous. But it was still hectic because it will take hours going up. But then now the government decided to do a cableway. Now shortened, because there are 2 villages, one on this cliff and another one on this cliff. And you have you have elders, you have friends here, you have relatives on this side and others on the opposite side. So it was for you to visit your relative, you'll go down 3 hours, then go across the canyon, then again 3 hours. But now the government did a simple thing, but very efficient. Build a cableway between the 2 cliffs. Now it takes less than 15 minutes. You cross. And children now go to school safely. Because after that, the government built roads. Very nice highway within the mountains. And I just loved it. And what came into me is that, looking at it, this what the government did has already changed the place, the number of tourists. Let me tell you, we were struggling going up there because the numbers of and the masses that were there, I'm like, and the village head, who is also a member of the NPC, actually told me that cable car has changed their lives. And everyone I talked to, including farmers, there's a farmer actually, lady who told me now she's able to take her produce to the market easily. Sometimes, the times before that, sometimes you'll even die while transporting your goods to the market. So the village was stuck in poverty. But today, they say they are headed to the richness. They are rich, but they want to be wealthy. Yeah, so some of the recommendations they're making now is looking at industrialization, how now they can have industries within their village, how they can enhance businesses, because tourism is already up there, and it's really helping. So
all those wild dreams have been finally within range.
Within range,
you know,
yes.
In China, we have this saying, one way in and one road in actually into the village, and that's the way out of poverty. But on those roads, and not only nowadays, and not only just riding or being driven trucks or school bus, I noticed that actually there are also driverless cars on the roads somewhere in China. So now let's move on to another end of the Chinese development, economic development, that interests so much our viewers and social media community people. You tried the driverless car, have you?
I did, and we have this in America, but I hadn't tried it before, only in a few cities. We went to Shenzhen, the hub of technology.
When you say that you tried it, which seat actually were you on? Just the driver's seat or
no,
the shotgun
I was
seat?
in the back.
In the
so
back,
I could,
okay. You couldn't reach for the
in
wheels?
front. No, because it's blocked. They have like a plastic.
So the human being was completely blocked from the driver's seat?
Yes, completely.
How did you feel?
So, normal. I wasn't scared, and once we were in, I saw that it was so careful that I felt more secure than a driver, you know, having a driver, because humans, especially driving, you know, can be reckless sometimes. So
human error.
Human error, yes.
And I've had those experiences with drivers before, you know.
Okay.
But this robo-taxi was just following all the rules. You know, sometimes it was traveling to find a way to get in, but it finally
did. So it was not on the experimental zone, it is on the open road?
Yeah, open road, yeah. It was taking us, it was like a 30-minute path.
Path,
you know?
okay.
Yeah, and...
is it no more traffic? Like you would stop, the car would stop, wait for the traffic light?
Yeah, yes, of course.
And it was a random route or designed for like from...
Yeah, no, it was a random road. Not a highway, just a regular road.
Cool.
I don't think they're allowed on highways so far.
Okay.
But yeah, it took us on the regular road, yeah. And it was following all the, you could see all the cars around, like the scanner on top could notice how many cars. Also, if there was a motorbike. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was my first time, and I think it's a good path for the future. I mean, maybe not for the taxi drivers, you know. Maybe not for the taxi drivers. You know, they're gonna be not so happy. But
of course, in the very beginning, it was like a scare, but you witnessed every details of its operation there, right?
Yeah. You can change the music. You can.
How do you do that in a driverless car?
You can talk to it like AI, you know.
Okay,
everything's AI now, and like you can like
just talk to it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't speak Mandarin, but the producer that was with me helped me figure out the things, you know. And
but if it's AI, then I think it's very easy just to program the AI to speak in a different language. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yes, it's not just a test driver. So basically, we might lose our job because of the because of AI. So it's not just a driverless car. So what else have you experienced in Shenzhen? I think, right?
And about losing jobs, we need to adapt, right?
Yeah.
And so we the taxi actually took us to where they do robots, you know. So we were able to see humanoid robot, you know.
Humanoid, okay.
Or they're working on that, and this robot was a fighter robot.
Please don't tell me that you are also among one of the people nowadays, because we have so many people nowadays who kind of fight with a martial arts robot.
Well, yeah, this was a he was doing kung fu moves, and he didn't touch us, you know, but he was showing us, or they were showing us how.
You wouldn't
he
been
could
here
move.
if it touched.
Exactly. Yeah,
You
because,
should
I
have
mean,
tried.
he's-
You
what?
should have tried.
I tried, but I didn't get close. Yeah, but yeah, it was amazing to see in person how much humanity is doing, and especially here in China, you know, in Shenzhen, technology. We also went to the BYD headquarters. We saw a car that was dancing.
A car?
Yeah, a car. Yeah, and it was actually like, you know, like
Wheels?
with wheels. Yeah,
car?
A car. Yeah.
Really?
On its own?
I just know it's
Yeah.
rolling, that it's was dancing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was so interesting.
That's
Also,
quite
the eVTOLs, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna be having kind of like helicopters, but going vertically, you know, that doesn't need a driver as well. So in the near future, like you and I, you're not a pilot, right?
No.
Okay, so you and I will be able to go
Fly.
around the city
Okay.
with no driver,
So just
with no pilot.
taken by a drone.
Yes.
Up in
yeah,
the
yeah,
air.
Yeah.
Recently, the Chinese company actually tested the drone plane.
Taxi
Yeah.
drone.
Taxi
drone.
drone.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
in Kigali, Rwanda.
Oh,
and it was
really?
amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
it was amazing. It looks
Yeah.
and it moved in Kigali city, like was it almost like 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers within the city?
Maybe in the future, for people like me, I'm just a coward. I don't think that I'd be able to in close contact with a lion or with a tiger, but maybe in
You
the
can be
future,
close to.
the tourist zone in the country can operate drones to take
Yeah.
To take
take
close to-
tourists around.
Yeah.
And I've seen you got a pair of glasses
Yes,
there.
this,
What are they
this,
for?
this wasn't from Shenzhen, but
Yeah.
here during the 2 sessions, I was able to use them. So you.
Where did you get
put-
it?
Here's the brand, but the producer gave it to me.
Okay.
Basically, you put them on, and whatever someone's talking, if it's in Mandarin, it will translate in English. So I was able to understand what they were saying. I read what they were saying. It translated it automatically, which is
Amazing.
crazy.
So
Yeah.
just, this is
Amazing, yeah.
before both of my eyes, there will be captions or subtitles just gliding upwards.
Yes, kind of like
Whilst-
reading a prompter.
So it pick up the voice from your interlocutor and then translate it simultaneously, and
Yes.
you can just talk back as long as both of you wearing the gadget.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
but
nice.
I was trying to understand the deputies from Hainan, so that's why I put it on, and I was reading what they were saying. It was translating at the same
Wow,
time.
that's nice.
Okay, so before we
It is just translating, linguistic friendly. It's just translating, right?
Yeah.
And
But
typing
when
for
you,
you,
can it recognize any articles in front of you? Does
I
it have that?
didn't try
function?
that,
Okay.
but maybe it does because like it's
it is
picture.
yeah, it's not
you
beyond
know?
beyond the area of plausibility. I mean, after I
Yeah.
think to pick up the sound is the hardest
Yeah.
part of this
Yeah.
this transmission.
Yeah, because that we have
Yeah.
in phones already, so it wasn't something
Yeah.
I was looking
So long
for.
as you can wire it to a phone, and maybe you cannot directly because it's probably still harder to wire your glasses with a camera, but at least you can wire it to your mobile phone and then scan any text with your phone, and then you can go translate it in front of your eyes. But you mentioned Hainan, but before we go there, and we talked about the free market port. Well, I'd like to ask you, Jiaxin, because it's an amazing scenario both our colleagues from Africa and from America are talking about. On the one hand, we have people living in the poverty and they gradually working out of poverty. And on the other hand, we have a high-end technology developing. We have people worrying about their jobs being taken by a robot. Can you explain to us how can that happen? Because our viewers are very, very interested in this. We have a very interesting site in China. Can you explain to us what is happening?
Yeah, we know that there is a growing concern about if the high technology could facilitate this robot taking our jobs away. But before that, I just wanted to echo what our two reporters did before. For the rural revitalization, your story is just part of that because we're talking about policymaking during these 2 sessions, right?
Yes.
It came to reality because I would just wanted to share with you about these policies. It's not, as you said, we have those policies encouraging those rural people to be resettled, to try to, because of the historical reason they lived in the remote areas. So we wanted to resettle them to try to create jobs in the new areas for the industrial opportunities for them to work. At the same time, sometimes we try to still keep them there, use technologies to try to also bring tourism to those spots. This is one of the human-centric philosophy. About your report, I think we are going to, as we know that Shenzhen, by the way, is a tech hub in China, and on the other hand, they're trying to boost this kind of low-altitude economy for the region, Great Bay areas. So try to make this. So I think technologies has always, bring jobs back. So we need more talented. That's the reason why we are talking about high-quality development. We are not just, working for the production line, but we hope that education, public services, and infrastructures, either from those, remote areas or for the, top-tier cities, we can hope that education can give opportunities for those people from rural areas to become talent. So talents are the things that we want for the high quality. So I think this is really a good circuit for us to understand why still we have the future where we have these technologies to bring more opportunities for us. So this is kind of like my understanding.
I don't know if you during the press conference, the NPC press conference, I don't know if you had the head of national development talk about robots, and when he said robots are close to human beings, but they are also not close to human beings. That you can even, when you want a robot to have 6 fingers, you can have 6 fingers.
We always make fun of this when we're doing live in this studio, that maybe in next year, and you will be hosted by a robot instead of me as the human being. So we kind of over the past few years, we always like to toss that around, a toy with that idea. But after what happened in this year's China Spring Festival Gala, lines of robots performing on the stage, martial arts. I think somehow in this studio we've stopped toying with that idea because we genuinely feel the pressure. We might be replaced.
And I mean, coming from, I know we're in the present, but it feels like the future coming to China.
Yeah, coming to us.
That is. No, like coming from America, I feel in the future. Like this is gonna be our future.
Someone said, someone did a documentary and said the country that is already living in the future. Referring to China.
Well, you come to think about the face that represent the Chinese. Coming to represent China. First, there's a panda, and a dragon or long in Chinese culture. I think next is going to be in a way a robot that you can instantly recognizable. This is about China. Okay, so now let's move on to another aspect of the economy. You, Enoch, sir. You've part of this because I have seen a report from you about this Chinese supermarket. It's not the supermarket that you go to on the street, right?
What is it?
Why do you call it supermarket? Or who called it the supermarket?
China supermarket comes from...
with a dash line in between, right?
Yes. Where we coined it from, it's, let me say, economic philosophy, the current one that talks about buy in China, export to China, and invest in China, being opportunities for people who are interested either in shopping in China, selling in China, or actually investing in China.
Invest in China.
Now, being a supermarket has everything.
Yes.
There's a place where it's one stop. You go there, if you want a soap, you'll get a soap.
So again, it's a super dash line market. A big, giant market.
Yes. And look, with lots of opportunities now for anyone who has an open heart, like for example, who really wants to do the 3 things in China. And it's looking at it, we are also looking at the opportunities that within there, not just for the Chinese people, but for the world. So I'm going back to the Minister of Commerce, who actually expounded on that. And he was urging countries to look for opportunities to come, even companies, foreign companies, saying that you can come if you have an idea that you think you can come and invest in China, you are free to come. Now, that makes it a big opportunity for anyone, for not just for people who are coming to spend. You know, shopping is spending.
Coming to sell.
But you are coming to make money in China. And I wish I had money. I will be the first one on that bandwagon. I'm like, you know what? I'm the driver of that, because there are a lot of opportunities here in China. Yeah.
And the report that I watched from you, Eden, and because I'm a coffee lover, I just love beautiful, especially in the morning. I think my brain barely functions without a cup of coffee. And that's why the most impressive part about your report, one of them is the coffee beans that you held in your hands.
Oh, yeah.
They're from Hainan, right?
Yeah, so Hainan is a free trade port now, right?
Yes.
And so it was really interesting, like what international companies are doing. Like they're bringing, for example, beans from Colombia per se, and they're processing them in Hainan, and then taking them back to the world. You know, because they don't have to pay the taxes. But the way it's Hainan is winning is because of the production is happening there, right? So that was really interesting to see, and that's happening with many other products as well, not just coffee. But the coffee was there, and I was like, okay, I'll grab it and talk about it. Yeah.
So Jiaxin,
I love coffee too.
You've been the free market, the free trade port, have you?
Yeah, even I travel there for different report. I know that you were talking about the customs policies just initiated last year. So yeah, but I just wanted to say that there are a lot of benefits, not just for Chinese consumers there, but also for foreign companies to invest either in pharmaceutical or some other. Of course, the tourism will be boosted. But as you said, a lot of foreign companies are welcome to invest there in Hainan because of the taxi policies and also some other beneficiaries that Chinese government has given to the status. So this is a pilot one. That means that China is going to further opening up. Hainan has always been kind of like a pioneering island, because not just because of its position, but also because it is reaching this kind of industries, and then yeah, we'll see, because the number is now seeing a kind of like a rise for those foreign investments, and it's not just been within a year, but the consumption, we'll see that during this New Year's, a lot of my friends and relatives will just go to Hainan and enjoying that policy. Yeah.
You've talked about tariffs. Do you know, beginning of May, the 1st of May, there will be zero tariff on African goods.
Countries.
Yeah, so for any African businessman who wants to sell their goods to China, it will be free. Free tariff. It's zero tariff, so it will be very nice. It has been improving
of all the products.
Yeah, it has been improving, by the way, on all products. For example, when we talk about Kenya, where I come from, we started exporting avocado to China in 2022. There were like 500 tons, but as we speak now, it's over 4,000 something. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's increasing each year. The consumption of avocado here in China from Kenya, it's on an upward trend. But we are looking at just the African continent as a whole in terms of having their produce to China. Remember, we are an agricultural economy. So it's a good opportunity for Africa, given the Chinese population. As you said, supermarket, the Chinese population, 1.4 billion people. If Africa can leverage on it, then it's good for our farmers.
And speaking of a tariff, tariff is really a word that every one of us is familiar with, because we've been listening to this word for a very, very long time. Now we're listening to it in a completely different context. So correct me if I'm wrong, how the free trade port in Hainan works. Like there's foreign companies or foreign suppliers can ship their goods to the zone, to the port, and Chinese people as well as people from everywhere can go there to buy goods without paying the extra share of money that normally would be caused by tariff. But they cannot just buy a whole lot of things and then come out of the zone and resell it. There's definitely going to be a limit, but that is for ordinary consumer. And there could also be raw materials shipped there and processed into some other products and resell across the world. Is that how it works?
Yeah. By the way, when it comes to the zero tax, I just wanted to add that our Foreign Minister Wang Yi just announced that during the press conference starting from May 1st. I think this is really a good point for Chinese government to do, because we were talking about the China's economic performance over the past year has been very stable, and of course, the target for this year is stable, show China's resilience amid this geopolitical tensions, also some risks from the exterior world. But China has been always a really trustful partner, either for African partners or for Latin American partners. So your example has also been reflected from to our Latin American partners, because a lot of exports from Latin America has been also tariff-free to Chinese consumers. Fruit and agricultural products, the same things. So, and you know that China has set Africa the first destination, always for this diplomacy in the very beginning of the year. So this is kind of like, I would say, a nice gift for the 70th anniversary between, relations between China and Africa.
Actually, Wagyu was in Africa the other day. I'm saying the other day, I mean February. Yeah, so he was in Ethiopia. He went to several African countries, and he always does that.
Yeah, you were on our side during the one's visit.
No. Okay. But we covered. So we normally have even stories centered on it because it's a very important visit for us as a continent. So we always look forward to Wang Yi's visit to Africa.
So we've traveled around China. We've been to Shenzhen and Sichuan and Hainan as well. And now let's go back to the Great Hall of the People and the different press conference. And some of our viewers asked what it feels like to talk to a Chinese lawmaker. Volunteers, you want to go first?
What is your experience anyway? Talk to
Well, I spoke to the Hainan delegation.
Or?
No, a delegate.
A delegate.
And, I don't speak Mandarin, but it was very interesting how they explained the tariff-free and how the everything works. You know, it was right after their meeting, and how everything starts from people proposing something and then going all the way to the MPC.
It's quite interesting, but the fact is that I loved how they are always ready to talk to anyone who approaches them. Yes, there was a language barrier. I don't speak Chinese, so I speak English. So it was difficult. So, for example, you'll stop a deputy, he or she stops, and you say, ni hao. She responds or he responds, then the conversation ends. You're like, what happens next? I loved that experience because then I just started approaching randomly, and I'm like, can you speak English? And I found one who said, he's called Bao. I still remember his name. He's called Bao. So Bao told me, little, so you can ask me in English, I respond in Chinese. And that's how I ended up talking to him.
Just remind me, maybe next year when you guys come to China, that I talk to our management to buy a couple of sets of
Next
glasses.
time I'm going with them.
You can definitely wear that to the meeting halls, and then you will
interview
no obstacle whatsoever. Just no language barrier.
Equipped with Chinese
We
technology.
would both have to.
But the most important now after the session, I requested several, and they agreed, and we went to now do one-on-one. And I just loved how they were elaborate. One of them, of course, being the head of Gulu, because I wanted to follow up on the story of rural revitalization and just what is the future of this program, and what, for example, in terms of what next. And I just loved how they were enthusiastic about the plans that are there for the program. and they were quite elaborate. They explained to the detail in terms of legislation, in terms of the proposed suggestions and recommendations by the NPC. So at the end of it all, I felt like my answers or my questions had been answered. So I'll imagine, because when I was in Gulu, I saw how, for example, he's called Cheng Wangchun. So Cheng Wangchun, how easily he could interact with the people, and they will tell him, sometimes where we come from, we call them members of parliament. Sometimes they're unreachable. Once they are elected and they disappear from members of the public, I just loved how this guy easily interacted with women, old the elders, the young people. So it's easy for them to feel at ease, to tell him any issue they have and any suggestions probably they have, because he represents them.
Back to issue, Jiaxin. So what is going to happen next with 2 sessions? Tell us.
Sorry?
What is going to happen next with 2 sessions? Tell us. What will be your focus next?
For this year?
For this year,
Mostly I stay in the corridors for deputies and our ministers, high-level officials. That is a kind of like, I would say, a window, a closed window for media outlets to ask not only about their stories, but also for some big picture national strategies to be implemented for not only this year, but for the next 5 years, because this year starts the 5-year plan. So back to your question, you were asking them about their impression about the national lawmakers. For us, actually, we know that they are not full-time politicians. They're from different backgrounds. They're diverse teachers. So, for example, when I was at the corridors for NPC, actually, one of the deputies I encountered was a vice principal of a high school in South China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region. She was actually focused on this year, because, different year, maybe they have different proposals. So they have to, as you said, they wanted to talk to the grassroots communities, and they wanted to get some concerns from the public. So this year, the vice principal was talking about the psychological issues among those students, because for now, most of the students from primary and secondary schools, they have the annual physical examinations, but the psychological issues is not included. So this year, because she has been over years dealing with pressures and stress from those psychological and mental health issues with students, not just for students from the university, but for those students at a secondary primary school level. So because she said that this could be like an iceberg beneath the surface. They wanted to now put these psychological health.
So for students, it's not just about the classroom performance, but also about their psychological health.
Yeah, they wanted to have these mental health checkups to be included in the annual physical examinations. And this is also aligning with the country's one of the priorities of trying to shifting education from not just focused on the
performance,
the purely economic scores, but also about their psychological and mental well-beings. And this also show that the deputies are working with is aligning their jobs and fulfill their duties with the national policies.
Do you remember Bao?
Sorry?
Bao. You remember Bao? I've just told you the story of Bao. A deputy I ambushed. And he told me, just ask me in English and I respond in Chinese. So my producer told me, she went and translated the response. So I came to realize he was a university don. One of the greatest scientists in China. And he had explained issues of robotics, issues about China's emerging industries for me, I could not understand what he was saying. But after that translation, they found, my producer says, they found some great insights. So going back to my point and your point, it's just very easy to get what the future of China in terms of the plans and the programs from the deputies.
Yes, because as you said, they're really well represented from different backgrounds. Yes.
It's a vast country. It has its issues, but it also has its advantages. I mean, that's why we have thousands of delegates and embassy representatives coming to Beijing to talk about those issues and make the proposals in their own fields. Okay, we've reached towards the end of the whole show, but there's a promise that we need to keep to our viewers, because the very first question I mentioned at the beginning of the show is, where should they visit first if they come to China for the very first time? So yeah, I will keep you to the last to answer this question. So starting from you.
Well, I love...
Make sure, I don't want to start a tough work.
I love dumplings.
Okay, so I presumably Beijing?
Yeah. I mean, most will probably get here or to Shanghai, right? But I would say Beijing, because it's the capital, and like there's a lot to see and a lot of places to eat.
Okay.
And
and
it's the first place I got when I came here in 2018 with a friend on vacation, and also the first where I got when I came this time for work.
So what's your first meal? Dumpling?
Dumplings. I was looking for dumplings the first night, and we went to a restaurant. It was food from Shanghai, and they had dumplings, shrimp dumplings. It was so good, and I've been eating dumplings since almost every day. Now, I've stopped a bit now because it's too much. But I love dumplings. Yeah.
Well, just a bit longer. Maybe me and the judge, we can help you to make dumplings, and then you and I. The first place to visit.
The first place to visit?
Yeah, the first place to visit in China. Not yours, but the recommendation you'd give our viewers who like to travel to China.
The first place to visit.
Okay.
I haven't, China is quite huge, and has over 700 cities. So I'm not sure I'm not sure I've gone to many, but those that I've gone to. First, I love Beijing.
Okay, Beijing again.
I will tell you the first place.
So far, Beijing is a winner,
which is the capital. Why? When you are landing in Beijing, you see those mountains and wherever, and it's just beautiful from up there. Then on one thing I was actually explaining to someone, when you walk in Beijing on the streets, you will think Beijing has no people.
just quiet.
Quiet, no rushy stuff. But then when you go down there and to the subways, it's when now you realize where people are.
To take you to the visit in the rush hour in Beijing subway. I'll let you know how it feels.
But also how the roads are big and whatever. I love infrastructure. And the reason I love Beijing is just how well planned it is in terms of infrastructure. Big roads. You have pedestrian walkways, you have the cycling lanes, a transport system that is well elaborate. And another city that I loved, I was telling him, it's a small city, it's maybe a county city, it's called Jishou. I love it because it's more like a blend of concrete and nature.
Okay.
And you just enjoy it. Even in the evening, I will walk along the corridors just to breathe in fresh air. It was nice.
Okay, so judging to you, I have to stay impartial. So I guess the representative of China now is on your shoulder. You need to give you an answer. And what is your answer first to visit?
It's really a tough one. Because I would say that after COVID, we have the visa policy really good for everyone. I would just say, just come. Make your next stop China, because, either we have the futuristic modern cities, we have rich culture in different cities across the country, and we have beautiful villages that we're building. Because we've talked about this during this year's 2 sessions, about the beautiful and livable, workable villages. So just come and experience yourself. And if you wanted to ask me to say one city, and just my hometown in Jiangsu province. So it's really a coastal, beautiful city. Even American Democrats come to China, and after Beijing, they always find some stop to visit. He came to our city and see these ecological advantages there. So just come and experience yourself, and you will find you are the most impressed one.
When you talk about coastal city, I went to Wenzhou.
Yeah, it's always
Ah,
a good one. Yeah.
I love Wenjo and seafood. There's a lot of seafood there.
Yeah, luckily that we're at CMG and the CGTN, we have a lot of reporters. So maybe for the next couple of months, I can ask one of them to come to the studio and to make a recommendation. And maybe in a 2 or 3 months' time, we can cover all the Chinese city. Yeah. But for now, I think that wraps up our Ask China special. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
And no worries, I've got just a fractions of questions from these sheets have been asked, so I will distribute the rest of them to all of you. And you'll bring them for me and for our viewers to the great hall of the people and all the other press conferences and track down the lawmakers and the delegates to ask them for us.
Yes.
But thank you again.
Thank you
So
so much.
that wraps our Ask China special, but please keep your question coming. Use Ask China hashtag on social media or join our online community via our website or app. CGTN's 2 sessions coverage continues, but from me, it's goodbye for now.